Welcome to the April 27th, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and you are now zero, not just sub-zero. Plain zero.
You are 2 days ahead.
we will be talking about the Running Man.
But in any case, Lotus Prince.
And Dracologist, I have nothing witty to say right now.
Neither did I, for that matter. But we have not that much to talk about this week. Kind of a dearth of topics, unfortunately. But
a dearth of Vaders.
A dearth of Darths.
Darth Vader.
There hasn't been a Darth in ages.
Now just the word Darth Vader is in my head. Just like a Darth Vader with looking into two directions.
But we have a Count Dooku. But anyway, we have. I just found out why they call. I just realized why they call him Count Dooku.
Because he was Count Dracula.
Exactly. But like there are no other counts in fucking.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It was a Dracula nod, just like I mean they weren't in the same movie together, but Grand Moff Tarkin was played by Peter Cushing, who was Van Helsing in the Christopher Lee vampire movies.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So I need to see those Hammer movies and then pontificate about them afterwards. But I don't know where to start because there's like a billion of them, and like some of them are good.
Start with the one where Christopher Lee thought it sucked, so he refused to have any lines in the movie.
Does he just like sit there and look at?
Yeah, he just like glares and stuff, and like like he doesn't have. There's one of his Dracula movies where he doesn't have any lines by his demand.
What an interesting person. He saw like the last public execution in France or something like that.
Yeah.
Like by guillotine. Weird.
And he worked with Rhapsody of Fire on their metal albums.
Yeah. Crazy.
There is isn't there like still a law in France that people can be executed by guillotine? Or it was like
maybe, but they haven't followed it. Like in New Jersey, the death penalty was still a thing up through 2007, but nobody had actually been put to death since 1963.
Yeah, because death penalty is...
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy who brings it back. And now it's actually abolished, but like no one wanted to be the guy to bring it back.
Death penalty isn't exactly popular amongst like forerunners of civilization. Let's just put it that way. We're like one of the very few countries in our class to still promote it.
And even then, it depends on the state.
Not a good topic to be discussed right now, I think.
Yeah, well. Anyway, let's get to a different legal matter. Probably the biggest and best news of this week.
Yeah, this is legitimately like surprising and interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really cool. So the Great Ace Attorney collection has been officially announced by Capcom to have a physical and digital release in the West.
Physical for Switch.
For the Switch, yeah.
So I already put in an order to import the physical PS4 version from Japan.
Yeah, so what's pretty cool about that, I was actually going to add this to our commentary on this discussion, is if you want to play the collection of the first three Ace Attorney games, the Phoenix Wright original trilogy, you can import the Japanese version, the physical version, which there was no physical version of that.
Yeah, at all in the West. Yeah,
in the West, and it will play in English. It'll play on whatever your default language setting is. So
yeah, I put the Japanese disc in my PS4, and it's just in English. It's great.
Yeah, I actually got it for Switch, which again, I hope I don't need to remind people that the Switch is like the perfect thing for a visual novel or an adventure game.
Yeah.
So I bought the trilogy for the third time just because I wanted it.
Small endorsement for the Switch. Like, I am not a console person, absolutely,
Sure.
but I I have to say, like, the Switch is actually appealing. Like, it's a small, portable, and versatile device, and it seemed to be fairly powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
The idea that
Absolutely.
something like that can play like The Witcher 3, that's pretty impressive.
Witcher
Yeah.
3, Doom 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
and,
I'm fairly
and
sure
Doom
that
Eternal.
there has been some really big like code magic has been happening, like some serious memory allocation and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there would have to be.
Well, they also a lot of the big engines are scalable now. Like Unreal and id Tech and all that stuff are being built to accommodate the Switch. Even though the Switch is a super powerful handheld for its class, it's a really great marvel. But
That's the-
I mean,
No, it's
the-
it's Capcom.
yeah, this but yeah, this is really cool news for big fans of the series because we've gotten the short end of the stick for Ace Attorney games, especially during the 3DS era.
Well,
The
not really. We've gotten like every game except for Miles Edgeworth 2, and even these two games were like
You
in
didn't
a
let me finish my sentence.
oh my god, but it was a legal battle with the Holmes Foundation or the Doyle Foundation.
Lotus, let me speak.
What? Look at me,
What I
I'm the
was
host now.
what I was gonna say is, we only got digital versions of the two 3DS titles. So that's what I was going to say. Short end of the stick in terms of physicality. We only didn't get one game in the series at this point now. But there were two more that we didn't get, and this is like two off the list of. And we thought we would never get them due to copyright issues with Sherlock Holmes and the Arthur Conan Doyle estate. But what's great about this is we're getting two new Ace Attorney games that we have never had in the United States before, and we're getting a physical version of it.
And the way
So-
that they got around it, by the way, was the way they localized the new JoJo
So funny.
games by like fudging it in a way that is outright telling everybody, yes, this is what we had to do to make it work. Like he's
It's
Herlock
definitely a
Sholmes.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
yeah,
It's literally Herlock Sholmes. One thing,
Yeah, Herlock Sholmes. It's like
Sherlock
worst
Holmes.
company.
yeah,
Worst company.
yeah, bad company to like, yeah, it was
company.
worst. It was worst company.
It
Jesus.
was worst company.
James Bond is John Baines.
Yeah, and like AC/DC is spelled EISIDISI, so you sound it out and it still says AC/DC. But
it's like C-3PO's name is
yeah, THREEPIO, 3PO in the children's books. But
Yeah.
what was kind of funny though was that PlayStation's Twitter account said something like, "Oh, get ready for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes" or whatever, and somebody responded to that and retweeted the Canadian PlayStation account, which was the same post, except I think they messed it up because they actually typed
Oh.
Sherlock Holmes. And they
Oh,
were like,
wow.
so did you misspell Sherlock Holmes, or did the Canadian account misspell Herlock Sholmes? It was pretty funny.
Well, it's great because these were also 3DS titles, so
Yeah.
I would really like to see the 3DS ones get a port because
Yes.
the 3DS Phoenix Wright games, and we also need the fourth game that has never been ported, the Apollo Justice game. So I definitely want those in a collection after this, but I'm just grateful that we're even getting like two brand new ones to us.
You know, what would be the
which
ultimate
is awesome.
modification, by the way, is if they went back to do the PS3 style of things, and the Sherlock
Oh.
Holmes games had like 3D TV capability.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Nah, I mean, I'm just happy that these exist at all, and these games were already had like really good graphics for the time on the 3DS, so they probably should scale up pretty well. Whereas they had to basically remake the original
The OG.
trilogy, yeah, because those were originally GBA games that got upscaled to the
Yep.
to the regular DS, and then from there. But
Imagine that concept, by the way. the DS being an upscale of anything. I can't even believe
It's true.
it.
It's true. I mean, we first
What did you
received them as those
upscale it
DS,
from? Pocket
those
Watch,
DS
Nintendo
games.
Watch.
I'm sorry.
Like, what did you upscale it from? From one of those Nintendo Watch games?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, if you ever
Game and Watch.
do like a DS emulator and you're like, oh, I want to make this fill my screen, like it's the worst thing you've ever seen.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
obviously.
Well, I really love the original trilogy. I really love those games. My favorite game is actually the fourth game. I'm like definitely in the minority there, but I really liked it when I played it, and I hope it comes sometime. But the Great Ace Attorney are prequel games, as you could probably guess from the fact
Yeah, it's
that
in the 1800s.
Sherlock Holmes is in it. But it's supposed to be an ancestor of Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, and wasn't Watson given some not name as well?
Oh, I'm sure. I just don't know.
I forgot what it was. I did know it's some W name, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah,
Lotus.
maybe it's like Weston or something like that. But,
Probably, yeah.
This is really exciting, and it's also like an acknowledgement from Capcom of what their fan base wants, which is great. So they obviously know that Switch people that are buying Switch games are buying physical, and they're selling well. And it's not even just like a limited run kind of thing. This is like one
store
that's going to be
shelves.
sold on store shelves. Yeah. So this is really cool. I'm really looking forward to this because I love the series, and it's like two of the games that we never got, and they're supposed to be really good.
And what's also kind of a cool little thing, by the way, on the Japanese end of things, is that for both the Switch and the PS4 releases, there's the option to get a box set that holds the two game
That's
cases,
neat.
the trilogy and the Sherlock stuff, which is kind of cute.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I went ahead though, and I bought the Japanese version of the original trilogy when I saw this, because I was like, I didn't know that it has like the American localizations right on there. So
Yeah, super nice.
I just bought it. I was like, screw it. Like I already own this on Steam, but like I mean the form factor of the Switch is perfect for something you have to read. So I'm very happy about this whole thing, and I hope that they continue to do it. I mean the Layton game, it would be nice if that got a modern port too, because you can't play it on a television.
Oh,
So,
what the Ace Attorney
The
Cross
crossover.
Layton?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not
but,
to mention that game's like pretty hard to find. Even back in the day, it was pretty hard to find.
Yeah, and I would love it for Miles Edgeworth 2 to finally get here as well at some point. But I mean, I'm happy with what I got. I mean, honestly, almost every game except for one.
Edgeworth
in
2 would be
English.
great to bring over, although I think part of why I didn't was that like 1 got pretty lukewarm reception.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, to call it the worst game in the series is unfair, because it's not a bad game in the
Yeah,
slightest.
even if it is, it's still like that. Like, yeah, the worst game of this list of brilliant games.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the least
not a bad
great game.
It's just it's not as lively, I guess.
Okay.
It doesn't have as much character to it. Like all the
Well, to be
because
fair, Edgeworth himself is like just so dour. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
well, it's not even just that. It's just the format of the traditional games in the series is a lot different. He's a prosecutor, and
Yes.
and so he's an investigator in these games. He's more of a detective, whereas you do have detective segments in the Phoenix Wright end, or the defense
Yeah,
attorney
but
end,
it's literally
it's
Edgeworth's
very-
job, whereas you go into the courtroom, realize some shit, there's a recess, and you're like, maybe I better go find some stuff on my own, whereas Edgeworth is supposed to be looking for evidence.
Yeah, so the whole game is investigations. That's why it's called Miles Edgeworth
Sure.
Investigations. So, this one's all about the courtroom drama and like the characters that you go up against. It's kind of like playing Punch Out, but instead of punching them, you have to defeat them with contradictions. So like every witness that you have on there is the boss that you need to defeat. So
Sure.
that's why it's so good, and it's a lot of fun, and also the way that they play the music. like when you hit like a dramatic moment and
Yeah.
and the way it makes you feel smart, just like a Portal game does.
Do you still do those douchey like finger wag like when you get something right?
I love these games, and I think this is also a good time for somebody to get into them. I mean, you can go with the original trilogy, which you can buy physically or digitally and still play in English, or you can play this on its own too, because they're just gonna be like, cute references, to the future.
I mean, it's like Phoenix Wright 1, the remaster, that fifth case, which has, I guess, retroactive things that maybe if I were a hardcore fan from the GBA days I would know, but there's no way for me, an American, to realize this through the official channels.
Exactly. But this is a great series. I'm very happy that we're getting lost titles, as it were. So that's actually kind of been a big theme about like what's been coming to the Switch lately. I mean, there are plenty of lost games like Moon and
no
things
kidding.
like that have never had any chance of coming to the United States before now. And a lot of companies are finally going back into their catalogs and even just giving us access to like Japanese versions of games. Like you see Konami giving us like Japanese version of Contra when they would have never done that before, or in their collection. So
that is really cool because like there's a little bit of text that you might not be able to read if it really matters to you, but the Japanese details. The actual graphical details are what makes the Japanese version notable.
Exactly. Now, moving on from this, I am not a big fan of this series, but I know plenty of people that are, and I know this. It's a big deal, so I'm going to throw this out there. But a new Tales game has been announced, Tales of Arise.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, what was the last Tales game? Was it?
Oh, there's so many. And they're all something Berseria, Zestria, Legendia. Like I don't freaking know.
I think the last one was Berseria.
That one did get some positive reception, and the name Berseria is a bit on the nose. It basically opens with the eclipse from Berserk, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. But I mean, the series has been a long-running series since the Super Nintendo days.
Fantasia. Yeah, we didn't get that game. We got it on the GBA, but yeah, technically Super Famicom. Yeah.
I think the original one was by of all people, the people who made that game were Wolf Team.
Oh my god, the Rise of the Dragon people? Or not Rise of the Dragon, I'm sorry. Revenge of the Ninja?
Yeah, exactly. They were called Renovation in the United States.
Well, even then though, I saw the Wolf Team logo. I think I remember that.
Yeah. No, they that was their the Renovation was like their US brand.
Okay.
So they also ported a lot of stuff as well. But yeah, Wolf Team made a lot of crazy shit back in the day. They made like Ernest Evans for the for the Mega Drive or Mega
Is
CD.
Is that the guy with the whip?
Yeah, but it looks like you're
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but you're like you look like a puppet the way that you.
Yeah,
you're like
yes, I
really
heard,
bizarre.
Like, instead of using a set of sprite for the character, they made him from parts.
Yeah,
it was
he's
like kind of an experimental.
Yeah, he looks like a rag doll or like a marionette or something. It's really weird with the way that he moves.
He looks like a Flash game character.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
trying to think of what it reminds me of. Like, I've seen that kind of weird, stiff, like, I'm gonna move my arm now animation. It's kind of like the first boss of Revenge of Shinobi, the way he swings his sword. Like, the rest of my body is frozen solid, but my arm is just up, down, up, down.
Yeah, Gunstar Heroes has a little bit of that in it, too. But yeah, I think the last Tales of game was like full Tales of game was Berseria, but they did release definitive edition of Vesperia only a couple of years ago. But yeah, I mean these are some of the best games in the series, and they basically just keep getting better. there's exceptions to that rule, of course, but generally speaking, this series just
It just
builds on
evolves.
itself.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it builds on
I did
itself.
hear, by the way, apparently they're canceling the multiplayer component for Arise, and it never occurred to me that those games were ever multiplayer, but technically
Yeah.
you can have your friends or your siblings or whatever play as the other characters during battle screens, which that completely changes the game, actually. I never even realized that, but it's been there like the whole time.
Yeah, I mean it is in there, but like, who plays a 100-hour RPG with four people? Like,
Well, I
like,
mean, it's like Mario Galaxy. It's like, here, you waggle the remote and shoot the thing. Like, I imagine it's
Exactly.
like that. You're not really invested with them the whole time, I don't think.
hey, you guys, you all sit there while I talk to every single townsperson I see.
Well,
And,
that's the thing. Yeah, that's single player. But when you do dungeons or something, help can be invaluable.
oh yeah, I
Well,
understand that, but it's not like Final Fantasy 14 where you go around like on your own,
Yeah,
while
yeah.
that's all happening, and then you meet up.
Hmm.
I would say like when someone is doing the single player area, and others can still watch. It's like
Yeah.
you are not sent out from the room.
It's true, but like this is like a 100-hour game. I mean, come on.
Mm.
It nobody
It's
gonna
gonna
put
get
that
old
together.
when you're trying to find like ingredients or something. But most of the game should be actual 4-player compatible.
I guess it would be cool if the option was there. If you were gonna stream it, or play it together online. I guess
Uh,
I could see it being fun to
does
do
it
that.
have the Steam online couch co-op function? Because in that case, it's possible.
I
Yeah, I
guess
don't know. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
trailer right now. I mean, the Tales of games have always had great music, great
Yeah, they
art
really
direction.
have.
But this one looks really, really nice compared to even the most modern of them. And it looks like a great game. Very colorful, which is really nice. It's even more colorful than usual.
And
And
you know what I always find fun about these, by the way?
yeah,
That they always have some kind of tournament, like a coliseum or
oh
whatever.
yeah, towards the
And
end, yeah.
and whenever you beat it, there's like the optional like super duper secret fight, which is typically the protagonist of the previous game, which is just
Yeah.
that's always just cool to do, and they're super hard.
Yeah, I always like that kind of stuff. I always think that's a lot of fun.
And you have
Um,
their battle music from their game, and you're like, oh,
and just kind of like Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy. They may take place in like a same universe or something, but they don't reference each other much. Only just little nods.
yeah.
So I if you want to get into the series, go ahead with the latest one. I mean, honestly, you don't need to play every single Tales.
Yeah, you're
game.
probably good unless you're playing one of the rare cases where it's like Destiny 1, Destiny 2, or something
Well,
like
yeah,
that, but
they
for the
do
most
have-
part,
Sequel games.
Destiny, yeah, 1 and 2, like both of games are online looter shooters, so
both of them are
What
what
was
now?
that you're not really finishing that game.
Why not?
Destiny. Again, it's like World of Warcraft. There will be always new
Oh,
quests.
Tales of Destiny were PlayStation 1 games, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about Tales of Destiny. I was talking about is it Bungie's Destiny?
Oh, you thought it was. We were talking about
my
Destiny.
bad. No,
Okay.
no. Tales of Destiny 1 and 2. My bad.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's all right.
And by
Yeah,
the
my
way,
bad as
just
well, then.
just to clarify, by the way, one thing I do want to throw out there is that American Tales of Destiny 2 has nothing to do with Destiny 1, except
Eternia.
that Cress is the secret fight. But like in Japan, there is an actual Destiny 2. In America, the game we know as Destiny 2 is Eternia.
Yeah. But Eternia was copyrighted by Mattel at the time because of.
Yeah,
He-Man.
He-Man. Eternia is a solid game, by the way. That's one of the 2 Tales of games that I've actually played. Eternia is good. The voice
Yeah.
acting is kind of jank, but it's a solid title.
The only game that I put I put a decent amount of time into Symphonia and Vesperia, which are two
Yeah.
of the fan favorites anyway.
Yeah, the other one that I beat was Symphonia. I actually wonder if Symphonia is still a fan favorite, because like it's what put Tales of on the map way back in the day in the West. But if you go back and look at it now, it's like, well, I see how we got here.
It's a fan favorite in the not in Japan, I don't think, because they think it's just like a run of the mill one.
Yeah, it's like okay, but like it's what really got our attention.
Yeah, I mean it was a GameCube only release for us. It was not for them. And the GameCube had very few RPGs.
And then we got Destiny 2 on the Wii, and nobody liked that.
You mean Symphonia 2?
Excuse me. Yeah, sorry, Symphonia 2.
Yeah, but Vesperia is still a fan favorite, I think, universally.
Yeah, Vesperia I think is well liked. Yeah.
Yeah, Abyss is a favorite as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the one that was after Symphonia, after Legendia, I think.
It was definitely after Symphonia. I don't remember which came first.
Abyss
that or
is after Legendia. Legendia is one of the worst in the series.
Well, Legendia has like a post-game thing where there's a lot of talking and social development with characters, and you're like, why wasn't this in the regular game?
Yeah, nah. But yeah, despite me having a lot of cursory knowledge, I got maybe only about like 5 or 6 hours into each of those two games, and
gotcha.
That's nothing.
I beat both of those because our friend Luminaire, he was the one who owned Symphonia. He was like, dude, you gotta play this. So he helped walk me through that one. And then I did Eternia on my own on like an emulator back in the day because I didn't have a PlayStation anything.
Yeah.
And even back then, that game would have been expensive by that point.
Yeah, so this is a good place to start. I mean, I would wait until reviews come out, but it looks really nice. So I doubt they would pour this much effort into this title to have it be bad.
And by the way, regarding what I said about Colosseum Secret Fights being the protagonist of previous games, if that's the case, that probably means that the Secret Fight's going to be Velvet from Berseria. So fucking brace yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing about it. I probably won't play it, but I think
I've fallen off, but they're good games.
Yeah, exactly. I also wanted to let everybody know about like a bunch of the games that came out this week. We have Nier Replicant. Did you get your copy in the mail?
Yes, and I haven't played it yet because like I don't have much of an impetus to. Like I want to see what the new content is that ties it to Automata, but like I have beaten the whole game before. The only thing is I saw some gameplay footage on like little video clips. Let me tell you, like I got the same feeling that I did when I played Dark Souls 1 PS4, remembering what it was like to play on PS3. That camera movement is so smooth. It was just like not even the characters really doing anything. It's just, oh, let me look over there. And it was so smooth. It was great.
I hear basically the only criticism leveled at this version is that like some people wish you could just pick Dad Nier, just because like that's how they remember the game.
I mean, I get it, but even in Japan, it's one or the other.
Yeah,
although I do wonder though. I don't know if the game's gonna come with a DLC because it's the new re-release, or if they will eventually release the DLC, which let you grind for like late game weapons or whatever. But the gimmick of the DLC was that you enter some door and go in another dimension, and you play as other Nier. Like even on PS3 in America, the DLC was Pretty Boy Nier. So if you want Dad Nier without ever hearing him actually talk out loud, then there's your chance.
I think some people really like identified with Dad Nier because like they might have been a dad at the time or whatever. And,
yeah.
He just the dynamic changes between Yuna and the main character depending on who you play as. So
yeah, and even like loading screens. I don't know if the loading screens are going to change for Brother Nier. I don't know quite what their dynamic is, but you'll see stuff with Yona leaving notes like, oh, I'm waiting for my dad to come home from doing his thing. Like, I don't know if it'll read the same with the brother. I guess it could, but it definitely feels different when there's like a 30, 40-year difference.
Yeah, I really I'm looking forward to playing this because I only got like halfway through or maybe a quarter of the way through.
How far did you get without revealing intimate plot spoilers? Like, what was the last thing you did?
Junkyard.
That's like
maybe a quarter way through.
What is that, like the second dungeon, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
Because I would say, even though this is gonna sound weird, ending A is, or no, not ending A. No, I think it might be ending A. Well, no, well, there's a part where there's a time skip. That's the halfway point.
Okay.
I forgot what comes after the junkyard before you get to that point. If there's a third dungeon or not.
Yeah, I had just met the recluse town. I had just gone there.
Yeah, there's the armorer guys, and that's the entire population of the town. Oh, the recluse town. Excuse me. Yeah, the recluse. The armorers are in front of the robot dungeon. Recluse town. Man, that's with all the high vertical platforms and stuff.
Yes.
That's Kaine's village. Yeah, that is certainly a location in the game. I'm not going to talk too much about that.
I beat the thing that was leading there, and
oh yeah, okay, gotcha.
And that's as far as I remember. Well, that and the I was doing a lot of side stories.
There's a lot.
I was also trying to beat a lot of the big scrawl enemies that I was way under-leveled for at the time.
I do hope that they do a re-release of Dad Nier, though, because it will hit different.
Yeah. I really love the music in this game, especially.
Yes.
It's probably the best of its era.
Yeah,
I can't think of a PS3 game that has a better soundtrack, honestly.
No. If you're into that music... look up Drakengard 3. It's a different vibe, but the same composer. And Nier Automata, which is obviously a very similar vibe.
Yeah, I really love the music in this. The only other game that's in the same class, and it's a different type of music entirely, but it's Shatter. Shatter probably has nearly as good of a soundtrack from that era.
That's a quality soundtrack.
Yeah, I really love that game. I mean, Scott Pilgrim is up there too. So, but yeah, this was a really great, awesome thing that Nier became a mainstream hit.
Retroactively, because that was some weird RPG on the PS3, whatever. Because nobody played.
I remember
Drakengard
defending
2.
this game when it came out to people. They were it got terrible reviews. I was like, you gotta play it. It's really good.
Yeah, and then Nier Automata came out, and everyone's like, oh. A Platinum Games game, and then come for the Platinum Games and stay for the story, and then they were like, oh, there's another game like this.
It sold even better than most Platinum games, though. It was just a big hit in general.
Well, yeah, because a lot of Platinum games are the story's there, but you're in it because it's just so fun. But Nier hit hard as well.
Yeah, so I definitely play this game, especially if you played Automata and didn't play the original. You now have a good. A much more optimized game at the very least.
Yeah, you get retroactive context. There were things in Nier Automata that called back to Nier, some more subtly than others. And if you play OG Nier, you're like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, this is a good time to play this game in its best form. Plus, you don't need to go back to the 360 PS3 era to play it and all that jazz.
Unless you really want Dad Nier. And to be fair... Dad Nier is very, very good.
I like his voice actor, too.
It's brilliant. That game's entire cast is just, I was about to say, oh, this person steals the show, but then everyone steals the show.
The cold open for when you put that game in your... It's so jarring that it's great.
I don't know if Replicant has that, which is a damn shame, because that got my attention real quick.
Yeah, all of a sudden,
why is you dumbass?
Yeah, is yelling obscenities at you, which is amazing. Out of context.
That hit real hard.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Moving on from that, this is really cool. So the new Pokemon Snap game, I think it's just called New Pokemon Snap. Yeah,
and I don't know where you were on the Wii U, but in retrospect, the Switch was the better decision anyway.
Well, the Switch is always the better decision for everything. The Wii U was a massive failure, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But the new Pokemon Snap made people talk about what are they gonna do with because back in the day you could bring your memory card from your N64 to a Blockbuster Video in the United States and print out some of the photos that you took.
That's very cool.
It was expensive, but it was a cool gimmick. It was really fun. And they were in Blockbusters for quite a long time. And people had fun doing that and had good memories of doing that. And apparently they are doing a similar thing in convenience stores in Japan for the new game. And Americans were like, well, what the hell? Are we chopped liver or whatever? And apparently there is a Nintendo, a new feature of the Nintendo app on cell phones that is allowing the option to print not just Pokemon Snap games, but basically anything that you take a screenshot of.
Yeah, that's very clever.
And it's like a mini little printer that you can buy and hook up to your phone. So I thought that was really pretty bitchin'. I mean, who doesn't want to show off stuff like that, on their binder when they're in school or whatever, when you were a kid? I think that's really, really neat. Especially, if you like to decorate your things like that, Or maybe, let's say sometime later you want to... it's called the Instax Mini Link.
It's some innocuous name, but it seems to have been made in part because of Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, and you print out little postage stamps size, screenshots. Like you have they showed like Animal Crossing, which is like the perfect thing to use for that kind of thing.
Yeah, that is, especially with the way you arrange your house and stuff like that. That game is begging for screenshots.
I just think this is really fun, and we haven't had like a Pokemon print. We haven't had the Game Boy printer in a very long time. For kind of, imitating it or succeeding it. So
I think we have like the tools to get make these printers very easily to operate. Like we have like things like Bluetooth and stuff, so you don't have to carry it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool. This is like definitely pocket sized. This little printer, so this is really cool. And I would think that it's made by Fujifilm, so you might be able to use it for like anything on your phone, which would be really neat in general. So I just think it's really neat. I think it's pretty cool. Definitely take a look at this little thing because it's really clever. I think it's really neat. Moving on from this, it came out that Resident Evil 4 VR is going to be an exclusive for Oculus Quest 2, but that is probably a timed exclusive.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't imagine that they would take one of the most ported games of its era and make it exclusive to the Facebook Oculus.
Yeah, but not only that, but like they have a really good relationship with Sony, so I wouldn't think that they would totally lock them out of a game that would probably sell very well on a pretty darn popular platform.
Yeah, that game defined an entire genre of video games. Like everybody at the time was playing it, or at least had heard about how great it was.
Yeah, it looks really neat. It looks like a lot of fun. It is a completely different game than the original game. Like the layouts may be similar, but like the way that the enemies come in and all that kind of stuff, the way that you play the gameplay is going to be completely different. I even saw that you can dual wield in this game, which is nuts.
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, so that means
where's the button to say, "Don't worry, Ashley, I'm coming for you"?
Don't worry, Ashley, I'm coming for you. Help me, Leon.
But yeah, she says it a little weird.
You can just type in whatever on the. You can use the typewriters in real time.
Oh God.
You have to
you misspelled the location you're saving in, so the save is corrupt. Sorry.
We also Capcom is sending everyone a nice sort of this neck bracelet which resonate very pleasantly when you get your head bones sawed off by the Mr. Sackhead.
Yeah. that is a thing. Like the GameCube game had the crazy chainsaw controller. I wonder if there's like some absurd gimmick with this one.
Well, there are feedbacks like sort of vests for certain games that like actually accurately like resonate wherever you are hit.
Sure.
But
I'm just waiting to see like, can you imagine if this technology existed in the 90s? I guarantee the commercials would have the kid go like, go flying backward when he got hit by something.
Well, I'm really looking forward to also the PSVR for PlayStation 5 whenever that's finally revealed, because that's likely going to be the one that I buy because I already have games for the PS4 and that'll work on the PS3, and it'll probably be a reasonable price point. Plus, I won't need to like upgrade my computer at all. So,
You don't need like a endlessly
computer.
increasing costs of parts for a VR system.
Exactly. So I'm really looking forward to whenever this comes out. I mean the Oculus Quest 2 from a lot of accounts, like a lot of people really like it, but
I'm
of
sure
course
it's
it has
great.
its drawbacks. Yeah. It's just the Facebookiness of it.
Yeah, get out of here.
Really creeps me out. Like the amount of like that you have to be plugged into your Facebook account is unnecessary.
Any piece of technology that requires you to be hooked up to a different piece of technology, just like I mean, like the TV and the system at the same time. But like you know what I mean? Like something we need to be connected to some potentially transient account.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't see how the two are related. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to share what I'm doing on social media. Like I just want to play my game.
That's what I did with PS4. I made myself invisible and shut off all notifications that any of my few PS friends can read. Like no matter how often I'm online, you're not gonna know unless I tell you.
I just know, Lotus.
I can just tell. I can smell it.
But I thought that this was pretty neat what they were doing with this game. It seems like they're trying to do some experimental stuff that they never did with this particular game. Some new stuff, which is pretty cool. Because it's a game that's been retread many times.
Yes.
So it's
OG
cool to see new
PS2 with features, Wii with a different feature, various consoles in HD, like they've all had their things, and now VR is the next logical progression. Like where do you go from there, right?
It's kind of like Res in a way. It's just keeps going.
Vanilla, controller feedback,
you forgot
HD,
Dreamcast, man.
VR.
You forgot about Dreamcast. It was OG on Dreamcast.
Well, what did I say? Oh, what did I say? PS2.
You said vanilla, but
Dreamcast and PS2 were the vanilla versions.
Well, you didn't have the trans vibrator until the PS2.
You are correct. That is a good point. Dreamcast, PS2 plus trans vibrator, 360 plus 4 trans vibrators, and then HD with VR.
I have to correct you.
Excuse my ignorance. America did not get the trans vibrator, so it slipped my puny pea brain.
Well, moving on from that. This is a pretty cool thing. The Arcade Archives series last week had put out a pretty obscure Konami arcade game. I just wanted to give it some love. A-Jax.
Well, you know why it's obscure, though?
What's that?
Because most people know it as Francis.
Francis.
Give it a second.
A-Jax and Francis.
Anybody? Dracologist, you get it?
I'm afraid so.
Hey, we got one. I'm making a Deadpool joke, Vice.
I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not buying your drink.
The villain, the villain of the movie. He keeps calling Francis, but you get like once at the very beginning of the movie he's A-Jax.
Gotcha.
But like they never mention it again, even though the villain wants to be known that way. But like, you honestly forget he's supposed to be called A-Jax by the end of the movie because it's just Francis day in and day out.
Yeah, well, this game is unusual because it only came out in Europe and Japan when it came out in the arcades. So we didn't get it at all, and it was called Typhoon in Europe. This is great. It's really neat. It just has all kinds of different gameplay modes. It has helicopter and fighter jet stuff going on in it. It's just a neat game that we never got a hold of. I don't know how good it is. I haven't played it, but it looks neat. So I just thought it was pretty cool. And Konami has luckily been putting out a lot of games through this ACA service. Probably the highlight has been Sunset Riders. Like that was amazing.
Bury me with my money.
Bury me with my money. It definitely has some good old fashioned racism in it on the second level. But
wait, what was the you lose thing? Like, you need to get better to beat me, kid, or something like that?
Oh, from Street Fighter.
Oh, was that Street Fighter?
That's from Street Fighter 1. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm confusing goofy, high feedback voice acting like.
it's
Voice from your grave.
Yeah, even that though, like the quality was better. It's just like, why'd you say it like that?
Get Dr. Wiley.
Yeah.
This is cool, and I hope that they continue to put out obscure Konami games that have very few ports, because they've been released some really good ones on here, and some nice treats. There are plenty of games that they still need to release on here that they haven't. I mean, they probably won't put out the licensed ones, unfortunately. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Wild West Cowboys and Mumesa, but they'll put out I hope they put out Shadow Warriors. The Ninja Sunset Riders. That would be really cool.
Regarding Ninja Turtles, if they're gonna release that new one, there might be a chance with the old ones, but the arcade game has that Pizza Hut thing, though.
No, that actually only happened in the NES one, I think.
Yeah, the NES one is called the arcade game, but it's not actually an arcade game. But yeah, there was the Pizza Hut deal with that game at the very least.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if it did, but they did, but. I don't know. Nickelodeon's been pretty good about it. I mean, they were able to release the soundtrack on vinyl, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, that's crazy, and that's a very good soundtrack.
It's one of the best of the 16-bit era. They've been pretty good about it. Some of the bigger companies have been really kind to the retro gaming scene. Like Disney in particular is really good. For some reason, they're really good at preserving the Star Wars games from that era, and also the Genesis, Super Nintendo games. Most of them have been ported in other places semi-recently. So I don't know. Some companies are good about it, some aren't. But we'll see. We'll see if anything comes of it. I also wanted to mention that this is a light news week, so I had to mention something.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
There is a new character being added to Samurai Showdown. The newest Samurai Showdown, of course, that's Hibiki from Last Blade.
Yeah, not that character makes sense.
Yeah, she definitely belongs there. She is a cool looking character too, so I would love to play as her.
And she was in Capcom vs SNK 2 as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. She's one of the more popular characters from Last Blade, I would say.
By the way, speaking of, this character is confirmed for this game, one thing I forgot to mention last week, and this isn't really, oh my god, they're confirmed, it's more like, yes, we know, here's another classic, but Shermie had her reveal trailer for King of Fighters 15.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She's the one with the red hair that covers her eyes.
Covers her eyes, yeah. Definitely some horny posts on Twitter about her as well.
What? No.
Twitter will jump all over anything that's mildly attractive these days. But
these days.
Well, when they get reminded of things, they're like, "Who the hell is this character?" It's like, this character's been around for a long time, buddy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Oh, this is gonna bother me. I'm trying to think of a case where someone unironically says, "Oh, this character from this game that came out 2 years ago, and they've been around since the 80s or whatever."
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of stuff like that.
Sure.
Terry from Smash. Okay.
Well, there's a lot of kids around, that play that.
Yeah, well, that was my favorite when they thought he was adult Pokemon trainer, because that's actually kind of believable.
Who the hell is the Kid Icarus?
Yeah. That's true.
That's
he got his own... Oh, Kid Icarus from the 3DS game, because, his most recent game before the 3DS one was on the freaking NES. Who's going to know who that is?
The Game Boy. You forget.
Oh, he did have a Game Boy game?
The second game's a Game Boy game.
Oh, jeez. I didn't even know about that one. All right.
The second one's actually a lot easier to play than the first one.
I mean, real high bar there. That first game is brutal.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal. In fact, it starts off as hard as it's ever going to be. Which is the funny thing, because you're crawling out of hell, and I guess they wanted to make you feel like it.
Yeah.
But like the game just gets easier.
That is kind of funny.
But moving on from that, I just wanted to remind people that this was just something that was cool. The original OG Shantae from the Game Boy Color is out on Switch this week digitally.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It was actually digitally published by Limited Run in a rare instance. But this was so cool. They created an entire new engine to port Game Boy games, of all things, to the Switch, which was really neat. And they did and they did it with Modern Vintage Gamer of all people. So really neat stuff. They're also taking pre-orders for a couple of obscure Game Boy games while they're at it as well.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll put those on Switch as well. I thought was really neat about this release. I downloaded it right away because I missed out on the physical on this one. They did some neat stuff with options. You could pick between the OG Game Boy Color version, as if you're playing it on a Game Boy Color.
I was wondering about this. Yeah.
Or you could play the Game Boy Advance enhanced version if you had put it in, as if you had put it into a Game Boy Advance.
That's very cool they let you do that.
Yeah, you could choose either or at the startup. I recommend the GBA version just because it has extra content.
Yeah.
But you could pick, which is number one, and the filter options are quite great. They don't give you any smeary bullshit. Isn't even an option. They give you the lattice version if you want to play it like an old LCD screen, which is pretty cool. But they also do a zoom in one, so it fills up the screen,
sure,
but doesn't stretch it. And they also have the pixel perfect version. So three really good display options. There's no junk in there.
Neat.
I thought it was one of the best port jobs I've seen in a while too. It's really good. Going along with that, SaGa Frontier Remastered was out this week as well. A lot of people are loving it. They're saying it's great. I'll have to take their word for it because I never played it back in the day. But I know this is long awaited because the game that we got in the original version of it that we got was unfinished. It was meant to have an 8th character that was never implemented. The game got released before the 8th character, who was supposed to bring the entire story together, got implemented. So we literally had an unfinished game with unfinished themes. The game just ends with the 7th character, and there's no resolution to anything. There's nothing to tie everything together at all. But yeah, this has really positive reviews. I'm looking at the Steam reviews in particular, and everybody seems to love it there. There's one not recommended, but I mean you're always gonna have some people that don't like something. But
I wanted the original unfinished version.
No, you don't. This is a SaGa game. You wanting it at all is
yeah,
is a miracle in itself. But no, I mean, I've never been a big SaGa fan, but I know that it has its bright points, and SaGa Frontier is one of the games that people loved. Maybe because back when the original PlayStation era, Square Enix just had hit after hit after hit. They put out all kinds of niche experimental kind of stuff back then. They had the Bushido Blade, they had Einhinder, they had Ehrgeist, just tons of games that they did something new on. Brave Fencer Musashi, and it because they had that mad Final Fantasy VII money. So a lot of people just played whatever they put out. But
Parasite Eve, let's make a video
Parasite
game
Eve.
sequel to a book I like. Whatever.
Exactly. But yeah, apparently they did a good job. Some people are saying that this is the way that any remastering should be done. They should bring back cut content. They should bring back, things that should have been there. Apparently they put a lot of modern niceties in here as well. So and it doesn't look like a bad PS1 game. They really did a lot of work to make it look neat. So I think this looks cool. It doesn't look like a terrible PS1 game. It looks pretty modern by today's standards, except for some of the rendering is like unmistakably old PS1. Like backgrounds and stuff, but it looks kind of neat because of that. So I think it's kind of neat. So I'm looking forward to playing that eventually, maybe. I just have so much on my plate that it's hard for me to justify it, but I like the story behind it. I like that they went back and they did this. I think it's cool. And I just wanted to put out a reminder that people that have ordered limited run games, physical version of Scott Pilgrim, have just gotten all their copies for the Switch. Did you get your copy yet?
I ordered PS4.
Oh, you got the PS4 one. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I popped it in and it's fun. It's as fun as it ever was, and I'm glad to have it.
It's just as fun as it ever was?
Yep.
It's just as fun as it ever was?
Yes.
Okay. I'm done. The joke was over probably after the first one.
Before that. I also just wanted to quickly mention that for those of us that are into the Evercade, I saw a couple of videos on this, but they are releasing a consoleized version of the Evercade called the Evercade Versus that seems to tout some like two-player capabilities, and also like it is the only other console I know that had this was the Gamecom back in the day, but it has two cartridge slots.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So
watch out! You're gonna invoke the wrath of Tiger Electronics.
But I just thought it was interesting, and especially for if you want to play these games console-like, I think it's a cool thing to learn about and watch videos of. But I mean, all the games on there are like ports of old games, emulations of old games, and I already can play them elsewhere. But I still think it's a neat idea to have like a modern cartridge system geared towards retro gamers. I think it's cool, but it's not for me. But if this is something that this looks pretty cool. If I had more money and more time, I would get everything, including this. And just real quick, I watched about half of the Mortal Kombat movie. Some people are slagging it, but I've been enjoying it.
Most of what I've heard was like it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, if the only reason to watch this is to see gratuitous fights, and if it's kind of like watching Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, big monkey punch big lizard.
Yeah, I mean, like you know what you're getting into. It's not going to have a good story. Just like watch
it's just funny because a lot of people have been following the games for a while. Like Mortal Kombat kind of does have a good story, and like the movie's like, well, whatever, man, I'm just a movie.
Yeah, they made the as far as I can tell in so far, the villain of the story is Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero is not a villain. Like
yes, he is.
Well, the original one is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but like his brother eventually takes over and he's the good guy. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I think
the younger brother.
Yep.
The younger brother's the good guy.
Yeah, because the older brother died and became Noob Saibot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the younger one, he's not wearing a mask.
Yes, he's got that scar across his left eye.
It's because the actor, the original actor, they had to fire. He was the guy who was Johnny Cage and Sub-Zero. They fired him because he was in like a rival print ad for another digitized video game.
Oh, jeez.
So they fired him, and they came up with new sprite work, based on other actors. So that was actually inside baseball on that one. But yeah, I mean, like I've been enjoying it. I mean, Scorpion Scorpion's the main character, which is odd to me because Liu Kang's supposed to be the main character.
Yeah, but Scorpion had his own animated movie, which was apparently very good.
Oh, really? I don't know any of this stuff.
This was new. It was like last year or maybe 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, like Scorpion's Revenge. Apparently, it was freaking great.
I mean, the fact that they keep saying Chinese ninjas is really like making me grit my teeth.
But it is though. Like I know he's dressed like a ninja, but Sub-Zero is Chinese.
Yeah, but
I know it's a contradictory thing to say ninja, but like
it wouldn't be a ninja. You can come up with a Chinese.
Yeah, you'd call him something else. An assassin
yeah.
who dresses like a Japanese ninja. I don't know. It's like Raiden. His name should be Raiden, but too late. Fuck it. It's been 30 years.
Americanized.
Yeah.
It just bothers me that
I know.
Chinese Ninja Warrior. Like, what are you talking about?
I forgot Scorpion's name. Was Scorpion like actually Japanese? Sub-Zero is Chinese for sure. Okay.
No, in the story, like Scorpion is Japanese, and then Sub-Zero comes from China to come kick his ass.
That sounds right, because Sub-Zero like wiped out his whole clan.
Yeah.
And him, in fact.
Just plain Zero, like I was alluding to.
Yeah, that's why Scorpion's a skeleton man, because he got fucking killed.
Yeah, but not in this version. He has like a descendant of Scorpion.
Okay, so Scorpion may or may not be a specter, but is dead.
Yeah, I don't know. Who cares? I mean, I saw Jax get his arms ripped off. That was fun.
So is it yet a different new way? Don't actually tell me how he did it, but like, it's a different way every time. I actually don't know what the real lore is, but in MK9, Ermac telekinetically ripped them off.
It's not Ermac, I can tell you that.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. And in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the best movie ever made, he just gets metal, I don't know, coverings for his arm, whatever the hell that is.
Augmentation.
He gets fully, he gets his arms ripped off.
That would make sense, yeah.
In this one. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I mean, like me, my wife is oddly a Mortal Kombat fan. Like it doesn't like nothing about her would say, hey, you're probably a Mortal Kombat fan, and she loves Mortal Kombat.
Does Jax ever turn big and Monty Python step on somebody?
You know what? There's never been like the whole world explodes. That hasn't happened yet.
Like some of those fatalities were really like if you were to consider them canon, like Jax just turning huge, it's like, wait, what? There's a power everybody slept on.
Nobody's turned into a baby yet and skipped rope.
Has Su Hao showed up?
Su Hao? Who's Su Hao?
Where's Su Hao? It's the dev's least favorite character. He was in like Deadly Alliance maybe, and then never again.
Oh.
Except for Armageddon, because that game brought literally everybody back as a gimmick.
Oh yeah. Is that like the purple guy?
That's Rain, because Purple Rain.
No, not the purple ninja. Like he's like purple colored. I don't know.
I can't even think of a guy who's just purple colored. But no, Su Hao's a dude.
Well, whatever. I was thoroughly enjoying the people punch each other. I mean, Kano's in it. Kano is the
I heard Kano steals the show, which he did in the first movie as well.
Kano is the half-faced guy with the laser eye.
Yes,
but
he's the guy who inexplicably was Australian in the Mortal Kombat movie, and then it was so good that it became canon in the games.
Yeah, he's Australian again.
Because he looks nothing like in Mortal Kombat. Look at Mortal Kombat 3 Kano. Like, no way. But Mortal Kombat movie Kano was so damn good that like we're keeping that.
Yeah, so the new one is Australian, and he's the comic relief, and he's great. I love him.
Kano's a legitimately interesting character, despite how little he has to work with in a lot of what he's given. But he could go places, so it's fun to see him.
Yeah, in the first half of the movie, Kano is like the best part of the movie. So.
Can he shoot lasers out of his eye like in Mortal Kombat 3?
At this point,
he was always throwing laser knives, not laser eye.
Yeah, but he had a fatality where he had a laser eye for no reason.
Yeah, like Cyclops or something.
Yeah, it's like, okay, why not? But yes, his knife is more of his standard thing.
He has he is not in that state yet.
Does he ever say, "Put a good smile on your partner, though"?
No, but he does say Kano wins.
Are you shitting me?
when he beats
does he fight Billy Madison's third grade teacher?
Oh, he's a hoot. I'm really enjoying it.
Kano wins. That's so stupid. I love it.
Yeah, he says Kano wins when
that doesn't even make sense. Like even in the original games, like the overseer of the official tournament said that.
No, he just says it.
Does Shang Tsung say flawless victory even when it's obviously not a flawless victory?
Shang Tsung's been barely in the movie so far, so I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. I mean, like, if you want like deep lore or an exploration of the
play
lore,
the games.
You are in the wrong fucking place, man.
I will say I actually appreciate having less Shang Tsung, because if you lean more into Shang Tsung, then you're gonna have to go with Liu Kang as the main character. Like it's like Street Fighter. A lot of the characters have legitimately interesting stories, but we only ever follow Ryu because he's trying to stop Shadow Lu or maybe Akuma. But like Chun-Li's story is awesome.
He doesn't have any character development or any like conflict.
Well, yeah, he's Goku. He gets stronger. He sits under a waterfall or something.
Exactly.
But like other characters like Chun-Li or Cammy or something, or like Guile, like they have actually cool stories.
Backstory, yeah. Like Cammy is probably one of the most interesting characters.
Yeah, she was like a doll for Bison.
Yeah.
One of many.
I mean,
that were named after the months of the year by Vega.
I mean, Charlie has a great story. I mean,
hey, he taught Guile the flash kick.
Well, yeah, but he also like dies in the lore.
No, that was it. He taught Guile the flash kick,
and then he comes back. So.
But yeah, he's Zombie Charlie in Street Fighter V. But yeah, he dies in every Street Fighter Alpha ending.
It's really cruel.
Oh my god, they killed Charlie. You bastard.
Yeah, just like, oh, let me guess what happens this time. Yeah.
And then Zombie Charlie dies. No.
And I also like the other dynamics that you don't really get to see explored very much. Like Guile has like a sort of tenuous relationship with his wife because he's too much into his work, whereas Ken has like an incredible relationship with his wife, and Guile's just like asking Ken for like marriage tips, like how do you make it work, man? And he's like, well, we do what each other like it's pretty great.
Ken is my favorite character in Street Fighter. Like he's awesome in every way, and just gets more and more awesome the more they develop him. So he's a great character, and it's a shame that he's like the Luigi. Because he really doesn't.
I know. Like, I remember there's one part in the comics where they're watching, like, a boxing match. Balrog had just come back off of, like, probation from boxing for whatever reason. And Eliza is just like, oh, God, why am I with you watching this again? He's like, I saw the ballet with you. You can see one boxing match with me. And then Balrog, like, just fucking murders the guy with one punch. There, boxing match is over. That was fun.
All right, well, we should wrap things up unless anybody else has anything to talk about.
I think I'm good.
There is one mentionable thing that
oh, please.
Steam released, like Capcom released on Steam Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Oh, nice.
I didn't realize that. Is that's one of the adventure like one-player games, right?
I don't know if it's one player, but it's probably a slightly more story focused, and it's one where
it
you
has
don't hunt monsters, you collect them.
I remember that.
Basically,
it's more of like an adventure game, right? Like kind of like a Zelda game almost.
I don't know about the game. I know about this off-branch version of it, but otherwise, I don't know what. I think it's a turn-based fighting game more rather than like sort of this boss rush style. Pardon.
Well, I'm really in. That would be the type of Monster Hunter game I would play, because I like story-focused stuff. So, I just can't get behind. Just level up to get leveled up. It's never been my thing. I've always just wanted to complete a story or get to a certain goal. You know what I mean? But I think it's good that they are, making these games more available on other platforms other than just the Switch, which I think the first one was a 3DS game, if I'm not mistaken. So, it's good that more people have it available to them. Any other announcements?
There is also an new R-Type game on Steam.
Oh, what's it called?
Hold on. I think I send you on Discord the link.
Oh, let me take it out. Take a look. Oh, R-Type Final 2.
Yes.
Yeah, it's being released on the 30th. That's a good call. I forgot about that. Yeah, R-Type Final 2, which is not the final R-Type. I'm really looking forward to this game. It looks like they poured a ton of love into it, and it looks like it will have, just like R-Type Final 1, it will have like a ton of different ships that you can use and unlock over time. So I'm really looking forward to this title. It looks great. It's been the first one since Final 1, and that was a PS2 game. So the only thing after that were the strategy games for the PSP, the R-Type tactical command games, but those again were strategy hex-based games. So yeah, this looks great. I can't wait. It shows off well, that's for sure. Hopefully it runs well as well, because sometimes stuff like this can not be optimized, but I'm hoping it's made by the same company that made Disaster Report 4, which was not very well optimized. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. And anything else that you wanted to bring up?
No, I don't have too much.
Okay. Well, that is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we will be going over more action titles that we really love. Finally, you can that's movies in particular. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much everything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
You can find me on Skype, Steam, and Discord under the name Dracologist, and on Twitch under doc_Dracologist.
Okay, wonderful. We will catch everybody on Thursday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good evening.